Hi friends and family, it's been a little while since I've made a video, but I am so blessed to have one of my older granddaughters here with us. Her and her husband are back from Guatemala and now living in the States, and she's going to show all of you how to do a lip gloss or a lip chap in the video. And so I'm excited to learn along with you. I hope that we all can enjoy, and as I have questions, I'll ask Keslee. If you have questions, put them on the YouTube and we can answer. So let's get going.
Hi, I'm Keslee. I'm Adeline's granddaughter. I'm gonna be making some chapstick today. This chapstick is my favorite chapstick I've ever used and my mom's favorite chapstick. I give it to my sisters. They all love it and swear by it. So right here I have measured out already some beeswax. So we're gonna do 1 part beeswax.
Now that looks like maybe it's from a beekeeper, is it, Keslee?
It is, yes. This is from my dad's beehive. So it's super natural, super fresh. It was pretty hard to cut and measure out, so that's why we did it off camera. But you can use whatever kind of beeswax you want. I prefer the supernatural kind.
It can be bought online.
It can,
right?
Yes.
And it's easier to measure. But I too,
Definitely.
with my salve, much prefer straight from the bees and the unprocessed.
Yes, unprocessed. Yes, that's the word. So here we have 1 part beeswax, 1 part cocoa butter, 1 part shea butter, and then I'm gonna measure out our oil. And for the oil, you can use your favorite kind of oil that you'd use for your skin. So if you have like a face oil that you like, here we have grapeseed oil and sweet almond oil. Sweet almond oil is my favorite to use, but today we're gonna mix the two. And then just a bit of vitamin E oil to preserve it, and it's really good for the skin also. And sorry, I forgot to tell you, the oil is 1/3 part, and then the vitamin E is just a couple drops. You don't need much.
And all of this will be in the description box, right?
Yes, absolutely.
She just got a food scale, and
Yes.
what are you doing? Just measuring. She wants to combine 3 oils, is that correct?
These two just for the oil, and then the vitamin E will be separate. So it's 1/3 part of your oil. You can mix a couple if you'd like, and then this is separate, if that makes any sense. Okay, so I'm just watching the numbers right here. Do about half and half. Oops.
She asked Grandma if I had oils, and I must have closed that one pretty good for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm coming from out of town, so I didn't pack all my oils this time.
She didn't, and I just pulled that from my supplies.
Yes, very helpful. I'm glad you had this. All right. That's about good. And then I'm not gonna measure out my vitamin E. I'll just put a few drops.
Yeah, vitamin E is very hydrating though.
Yes, definitely. Okay. And then we'll bring it over to our double boiler.
You're going to put all 3 of these in, right?
Yes. Yeah, we can do that here actually. Let's go ahead and do that.
Beeswax.
Mm-hmm. Cocoa butter. Remember, I have the oil in here already.
And that 3rd one was
And
what?
shea butter. Excuse
Shea.
me.
All right.
Okay. I'll go over here.
Just a makeshift double broiler she's got.
Yes. Turn it on. I'm a little impatient, so I'll turn it on medium-high just to get things going.
Not a problem. Now, when you came, you had some already made up.
Yes.
And look, she poured it right here. Doesn't that look nice? The one at the end, Grandma's going to get half and half to see which one I like the best. But these look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was a fun batch. I didn't have my sweet almond oil on me, so I used olive oil and avocado oil for that one. And the feel was not my favorite. It just, I don't know what it was. For me, it was a little bit drying, I felt, and a little bit too thin. But with the sweet almond oil, the texture is thicker, and so it lasts longer on the lips, if that makes sense.
So tell me what oil you used on those.
Oh, I used the avocado oil and
The avocado.
olive oil.
Okay.
A mix of the two. That's what we had. And it's
And
fun.
yet your mother indicated, in case you left some with her, that it was the best she had ever experienced. So I really do think probably whatever our preference is, you're probably a gourmet on lip gloss. But if we have a favorite oil, I was even thinking I use the mutton tallow.
Oh, that is very good for you.
And it is extremely hydrating and healing, and yet you would certainly want to put a fragrance or a flavor in that, but I think it could even be used. So I think wherever you are in the world, you could use your oil. So
Yes. And I think if I had just done avocado oil for that one, or I'm sorry, if I had just done olive oil for that one, it would have been better. But olive oil is the same. You need to have a flavoring with it because it might be a little strong if you don't have something else to counteract the olive oil taste and smell. All right, just melting this.
now, have you ever sold any of this, Keslee?
I've not sold it. I've just given it to family and friends. But my husband and I have a store. And I'm putting this chapstick on that store. If anyone wants to buy some, you can, like if you'd rather buy it than make it, if you don't have the time or don't want to for whatever reason, you can click the link. We'll link up the...
You'll give me all the information when you have it in the description box,
exactly.
right?
Yes, and you can buy it from there.
Awesome. Let's look and see how it's going. Oh, melting nicely.
It is.
Do you put a fragrance or a scent in this?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
My favorite to use is doTERRA's peppermint. It has that menthol effect that a lot of other chapsticks have that you can get from the store. But what's great about this is what my mom told me too, is that you get that effect, except this chapstick doesn't dry out your lips like
menthol.
Like
does.
menthol,
Yeah.
And like other chapsticks that you can get from the store.
Plus, there's so many healing properties with the peppermint oil. That's a great idea.
Yeah. It is crazy. Lots of the chapsticks you get from the store advertise that they're hydrating, which they feel hydrating for a little bit, but they dry you out, so you'll get addicted to it and keep buying it.
Yeah, so you keep going.
This isn't addictive. You're not gonna need to rely on this. It's not gonna dry out your lips.
I would imagine it would be far more long-lasting.
Yes.
And if you're really out in the sun and the wind, that's what you're looking for.
Yes. Yeah, I've gotten used to the humid weather lately, and coming here, I've just gotten so dried out. So I've been using this chapstick all the time, and it's helped me a ton.
Now, are these the only size containers, or have you put them in other size containers?
Yeah, so I usually put them in regular chapstick containers that I'll grab.
Okay, so if they were making their own, they could put it in whatever container they chose, right?
Yes. Yeah, this, it's really smooth, so it's not one of those really stiff chapsticks where you can't rub it with your finger and put it on. It's nice and smooth, so you can put it in containers like these and just get some with your finger and put it on. Just whatever you have. You don't need the chapstick containers.
And in your store, what size do you think you'll probably try to put?
Yeah, so we'll have the regular chapstick.
Okay.
Like tubes. We might have both, but I think we'll start off with just the regular chapstick tubes. And then If you guys want to comment below too, I can, if other people have different preferences on flavors or scents, I don't know what you call that, for chapsticks. If someone doesn't like peppermint, just let me know. And if there's enough people who want a different scent, then we can.
Or if they bought a little larger quantity, then you could make a smaller batch with that scent or flavor. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
This is almost melted down. It's looking really good.
See, it goes totally liquefied. There's a few chunks, but she can grab her containers while we watch the pot boil, huh?
Yeah, and I'm actually gonna take it off the heat because we're gonna want it to cool down just a bit before we put in the oil so that the oil doesn't burn out as soon as we pour it in.
Yes.
It should be just a little cooler. So
hopefully you all know that in candy making and other cookie here, sweetheart, there's...
Oh, it's good. It's not. I'll just set it there.
Thank you. In other cooking, that when you put your flavoring, that you need to take it off and then add your oil. So like you may have a candy boiling, but you need to take it off and add your oils after it cools just a little bit. And that's across the board if you really want the full effect of your flavor so that it doesn't boil off. Because so much of the commercial oils have alcohol in them, and they will boil off instantly, so you won't get the full effect. Of course, her mother is a cake maker, and she makes her own vanilla, which is amazing, and so it's awesome.
Something too that I want to note is some people I've noticed do like the thicker consistency of chapsticks, and some people like it thinner. And so when I make my chapstick recipe, a lot of times I'll just get my spoon, which I'll show you. I'll get my spoon, just get a little drop on here, and I'll put it directly onto the counter. Just a little drop. Once it dries and cools down, I will just put it on my finger and then test it for myself. And then if it's a good texture and I like it, then we're good to go. If it's too thick, I'll put a little bit more oil in it to thin it out a little bit. If it's too thin, then I can put a little bit more beeswax and a little bit more of those harder, firmer ingredients.
Wonderful. That's a great thing. Now, I notice you've got a little adapter thing to fill with.
Yes.
Either that or you'd need a very fine funnel, wouldn't you, if you were pouring?
Yes, definitely. And these are one-time use usually, because a little bit of the
you can probably fill all of your containers.
Yes, yeah, that's what I mean.
But then
just
toss, but one batch use.
One batch use, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And then I also have some spearmint here I might add in if I don't have enough peppermint. We'll see how it goes.
If you don't have enough peppermint, Grandma's got more.
I'm sure you do. Okay. I do like the combination of both too, like both flavors.
Well, that's awesome.
We'll see. Okay, and how you can tell if it's cool enough if you have like a kitchen thermometer, or another easy way is if it starts to, you can see at the bottom, it starts to cool and gets a little harder. I don't know if you can see that, but it starts like.
Is it doing it?
Yeah. So I think we should be about good. I'll just mix it, give it a good
So in
mix.
other words, it's not like making soap where it actually tries.
Yeah.
But she's saying
at the bottom it starts
at the bottom it begins to cool. And you can see that it's got some definition at the bottom.
Yeah, and on the
if
sides.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. On the sides it's starting to cool too, so we might need to hurry.
And if it gets too cool, she could always put it back in the warm water, not overheat, and it will keep it to where it will be liquid enough to get into her containers.
So
about 12 drops.
This I did about 20 actually. I like
20?
A lot.
Okay.
But for the mint too, I do the same thing. So or for the flavoring. So I will put some drops in, and then after I put the drops in, I'll mix it real good and then drop it on the counter and see if that's a good
If you're
amount.
no.
Yeah. And if not, I can add more. But I know usually what amount I want.
Grandma's counters aren't always clean, but I did wipe them off real good before she started this. So now you can see how it's hardening on the side, and she may have to
put it back in.
put it in the warm, only it's not over the burner. Here's the burner there, and that will help her liquefy
Yep. And then usually
the solids.
As I'm pouring, I'll keep it over just the warm water just to make sure it doesn't thicken while I'm pouring it. Oh man, this is really cooling off, isn't it?
Well, we've got the air conditioning going and there's a vent you're standing under is one thing.
That's fine. It's melting back pretty quickly. All right, should be about good.
You'll plug up your thing, go like that, and
oh yeah, you're right. Oh no.
And it will melt it.
Okay.
The only reason Grandma knows this is because I have filled lip chap containers with my pine gum salve.
We've done this process a time or two.
Yeah. Let me pull it over closer to you.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Work smarter, not harder, right? And these are just gonna be family and friends, so yeah, I'm not wearing any gloves or anything, and I just put some of it on my lips, but when I make it to ship, I'll wear gloves and all that good stuff.
With quite a few of the cosmetic products, you can take just like a recipe and get the basic concept and change it up some and make it to where if you have an allergy to something, if you want it to where there's no fragrance, if you want it to where there's a different, but there's solid oils such as cocoa butter, shea butter. Your beeswax is definitely one that hardens it. But if those things aren't suitable for your health or your needs or even your availability, you can go ahead and use other things, still using the same. I asked her, she'd put like 1 part such and such and 2 parts this and a 1/2 part this, so that you could make it at any quantity you wanted. And but we need to not be afraid to try some of these things, because we're lucky if we live where it's readily available. But Keslee's been in Guatemala and she did a lot of these things because things weren't extremely available to her.
Yeah.
While Keslee continues to do this, I'm going to put on pause and grab her a few more containers.
So we just finished pouring the rest of the chapsticks. This is the batch that we did before with the avocado and olive oil, and this is the batch that we did with the sweet almond oil and the grapeseed oil.
So Keslee,
Yeah.
The recipe or the amounts that you give makes what? You just made all of those from the amount that you'll have on the description box, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Perfect.
so I just gave it to you in parts, but I can put the exact measurements in the description. And if you have any comments or questions that you want to send directly to me, I can put my email in the description also.
That'll be perfect, because if you send them to sweet Grandma Adeline, then I won't know how to answer them because I'm not the expert. But if you have questions on this, address them to Keslee and put them on her email address, which will also be in the description box, right?
Yep, exactly. And I just, while I was pouring off camera, I was talking to my grandma and I remembered a couple things about it too. So I use this too if I have chapped hands, like really chapped hands. It works super well for chapped skin.
Awesome.
Or my mom actually used some the other day under her nose because she had a cold, and it worked great for her. Also, it smells super good even if you don't put any oils or anything in it because of the cocoa butter. It smells like chocolate. It smells super good. So you don't even need any of the oils or scents. So those are a couple other notes for you.
Awesome. Well, Keslee, we're going to miss you. She's going back to Texas, but at least she's not as far as Guatemala.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for doing this video for me.
Of course. Thank you.